Hey dudes and dudettes, and welcome to Let's Replay. With Tokyo Game Show just being a day away, we need to talk, and we need to talk about Zelda. The year was 2019, yeah, last year, and Nintendo had just nailed their E3 presentation, with arguably the strongest lineup of new titles compared to their competition. Yet, they still, of course, had their one last thing to show. Many of us had played The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for over 2 years by this point. And here it suddenly was. A teaser trailer for the sequel to what probably is my favorite game ever. A sequel to Zelda Breath of the Wild. I got ecstatic. After beating the original game a couple of times for y'all on our Twitch channel, I knew what little things I felt was missing in that first installment, and therefore how I would love for Nintendo and the Zelda team to expand the Breath of the Wild universe going forward. This teaser though, however awesome it was, did make it clear to me that what I was hoping for wasn't the direction they were going. But don't get me wrong, I was super happy about just for a sequel to be announced, no matter the direction. And I'm sure, simply by the look of the trailer and that original game, that I love this one too. What I had been hoping for though was for a second game to come and fill in the gaps that kept the first one from, in my eyes, being a perfect 10. I wanted a prequel where we would get to know the champions better, as well as experience the war that both took their lives and vanished the kingdom of Hyrule. Spoiler warning for the Breath of the Wild and the foundation of its sequel, by the way. Nonetheless, let's jump to today. Yes, the original game is obviously out and its sequel is on its way. But to hold us over while we wait, Nintendo and the Zelda team has done what I believe none of us even thought of as a possibility. I'm here today to try something brand new for this channel, as Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, now to everyone's surprise, unexpectedly has been announced. And I feel like I have to talk about this. No, scratch that. I want to talk about this. My hopes for another game to come along and let us dive deeper into the story of Breath of the Wild has been realized. We are now so ready. Ready to hear what happened 100 years ago. So, apparently Nintendo has quietly turned to Koei Tecmo Games for another installment in the spin-off series Hyrule Warriors. This time it'll be in direct collaboration with the Zelda team, and it will take place in the Breath of the Wild universe during the war that occurred 100 years before that game takes place. We'll not only learn but actually experience the war thanks to the gameplay style of Hyrule Warriors. And as far as we know right now, we'll get to play as not only Link, but also Princess Zelda, as well as the 4 champions of Hyrule. Daruk of the Gorons, Mipha of the Zoras, Revali of the Ridos, and Urbosa of the Gerudos. And who knows whom else, or even what else we get to play as in this title. Nintendo is also helping out by providing the voice actors for this project, as well as supervising the development. From what I come to understand, the story itself will be canon and is also handled by Nintendo. This tells me that it probably will be a higher focus on the story here, and that is exactly what I want. Which leads us to my 10 hopes and wishes for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. And this is gonna be a little dark. First, I would like to have voice acting throughout all of the cutscenes. We've been promised dozens of cutscenes and I really would love for these to be of high quality. Besides, it's time for Nintendo properties to finally start to utilize true voice acting, wouldn't you say? I'd go as far as to imply that Link himself really ought to get a little dialogue nowadays. What I'm not saying is that this will be the title to do it. However, a girl can dream, right? Second, the resurrection of Calamity Ganon. Let us know how Ganon has been brought back as a great threat to Hyrule. It's by the hands of the Yiga clan, I'm pretty sure, but how did they do it? I would like to see this, as well as when and how Ganon takes over the Guardians and the Divine Beasts. Third, it would be so cool to play through the burn down of Castle Town and the takeover of Hyrule Castle. As an engaged Zelda player, it would probably leave a very strong impression to experience these losses firsthand. I mean, I can still remember how furious I was in '99 when Ganondorf kinda did the same thing in Zelda Ocarina of Time and the people had to flee to Kakariko Village. The fourth I'd say is rather obvious, the death of the champions. let us fight the blights of Ganon inside of the divine beasts as the champions. Maybe have us thinking that we defeated the blights in gameplay just to have those victories being taken away from us in the cutscene that follows right after the battles. The fifth is something sorta related to this, but not really touched upon in Breath of the Wild, I believe. The death of King Roam of Hyrule. How did he die? Where did he die? And when did he die? There's also a strong potential for an emotional moment here if we get to see some or all of our heroes react to this loss, as well as deal with it as the story continues. I mean, wouldn't Zelda feel very bad about this? Coming to the sixth wish of mine here, and it's yet another one I'm passionate about. I wanna fight to defend the Temple of Time and see how that battle was lost there. In fact, is this where the first clash in this great war took place? I don't know, I just have a feeling, but I'm probably wrong. Seventh hope, let me learn more about Cass's teacher. Not too much else to say here, Cass just made me very curious about this Sheikah and his travels. And 8, a rather popular one for those in the know, I would assume. The Siege of Akkala Citadel. Said to be the last place to fall to Ganon's troops, and therefore where the final great battle took place, and of course, where the war tragically was lost. I implore you to visit this site in your copy of Breath of the Wild before Age of Calamity comes out. And really try to imagine how it all could have went down. Beware of the guardians that now are roaming the place though. I can see it before me, the last survivors from the royal family retreating there after losing Hyrule Castle, just to soon thereafter be overrun and defeated. Worth pointing out is also that we can see the entrance being open in the trailer, which was closed off in Breath of the Wild. This, in turn, just may point towards us finally getting to enter Akkala Citadel, one of the wonders of Hyrule. To actually see this huge fortress during its heyday before it got conquered will be awesome. Hopefully, we'll even get to go inside. Okay, so 9th, and this is a loose cannon, but maybe we could get playable divine beasts, or rather control them as the champions are piloting them. We see them being on our side in the trailer, so why the heck not? Strong argument here, I know. It's probably a long shot. And for my last personal hope for Age of Calamity, since most of us already know how it ends, I want this story to be dark. I want to see Hyrule being beautiful, powerful and exuberant, just to be taken away. I want to see our heroes fight, lose their hope and fail. Please, go all the way here Nintendo, and make me want to pick up and play Breath of the Wild again for another playthrough, just to make things right as soon as the war has been lost in Age of Calamity and the credits start to roll. And so, with all of this being said, some of these wishes will hopefully not only come true, but maybe even be expanded upon. And who knows what other things that I haven't even thought of or mentioned in this video that will make it into the game as well. I do believe that the importance of this game can't be neglected, and that we all should appreciate its potential to strengthening Breath of the Wild and its sequel, and make them even better. I actually have a whole bunch of other stuff I would have liked to also fit into this video, like how I believe they could have greatly improved the weapon durability system for the sequel, for example. But with more information on the horizon as Tokyo Game Show gets closer, I guess I will have to stop myself somewhere. There's always the possibility for more videos, am I right? For right now, I can only hope that this video doesn't get obsolete by the new information just one day away as I'm working on this. Now, let me kinda ask you a random question. What do you think is the most impressive thing with the original Breath of the Wild? In my humble opinion, it's a lot. Duh. But the most impressive thing to me is that Nintendo didn't even have to make it, and yet they did. Hear me out. You can definitely argue that the Zelda series was becoming a tad stale, yes. Well, not even close to the likes of Pokemon, for example, just to mention another at least sorta Nintendo franchise. But maybe Zelda games that were released before Breath of the Wild did in 2017 played alike and heavily borrowed from one another. And there's nothing wrong with that when the games are great. The game sold very well and the series was, and even is, one of Nintendo's most powerful franchises. And that's even if you don't take the latest change of Zelda into consideration. It is, however, very refreshing to get something completely new and grand. They simply didn't have to change the Zelda series, but they did. And I applaud you, Nintendo. I do of course know of the original Zelda released for the NES in 1987, and that these two titles are very similar in style, but having just these two being alike by their core in this franchise hardly makes anything stale. And to conclude this video, I sincerely want to thank you, Nintendo. Thank you for creating Breath of the Wild. Thank you for expanding its universe with a sequel. And thank you for strengthening them both by turning to Koei Tecmo Games once again to give us Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. I can hardly wait for November 20th. And I always want to thank you for watching. As a small YouTuber and Twitch streamer, it really means the world to me that you've given me a portion of your precious time to watch this video and listening to me rant about Zelda and the Breath of the Wild universe. If you liked my blabbering, feel very free to drop a like. If not, give me that thumbs down instead. And please, consider subscribing if you haven't already. I also want to hear from you. What are your thoughts? Please let me know in the comments. And if you want to support me and what I'm doing here, it's super easy, 100% free, and doesn't take long at all. Just share this video with a friend. A friend who isn't in the know on how important Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity has the potential to be for the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Or maybe a friend that hasn't played Breath of the Wild yet but really should according to you. Just imagine getting to actually experience Age of Calamity before Breath of the Wild. A really cool thought. Also, can you tell me how many times I've uttered the phrase Breath of the Wild in this video? Sorry about that. Stay super, dudes and dudettes.